Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. On today's show, I'm going to be answering all of your questions pertaining to all things Niners, news, rumors, draft, free agency, this upcoming season. So without further ado, let's kick it off with this $10 super chat from Trenton Rossi. I watched you through the entire Niners season, and it was certainly a blast. And this is why you subscribe to the channel by hitting that red subscribe button down below. We had 100,000 people join us on multiple watch parties last year. We're the largest 49ers channel on YouTube. Free daily videos covering all things Niners. That's why you subscribe, and mailbags as part of our shows as we go live every single Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Trenton, thank you so much for supporting everything that we do. Hitman L, is it going to be a good season? Look, I know a lot of people are doubting San Francisco up to this point. I'm not there. Why is that? Well, they were a Final Four team last year, and I think they're going to get better at the quarterback position. I think their offense is going to be more explosive. I understand that there are going to be some bumps on the road for Trey Lance. That's expected. Guy's 21 years old, somewhat inexperienced. He's going to have to work through those kinks. Luckily for him this offseason, even if Garoppolo's on the team, he underwent shoulder surgery. Not going to be able to throw until later in the summer. What does that mean? It means that Trey Lance is going to get every single rep throughout the offseason. So he's going to be able to work out some of those flaws. He's been working his ass off all throughout the summer. And then you look across the offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball. There are premier players. There are a lot of people, because of this Deebo Samuel contract situation, saying the Niners are cheap. I disagree. I mean, Fred Warner is the second highest paid linebacker in the game. George Kittle, one of the highest paid tight ends in the game. Trent Williams, highest paid left tackle. Nick Bosa is going to get paid. The Niners spend for really good players. I think they're going to do the same with Deebo, and I think Deebo is going to be a big part of the Niners having another good season. They started the year 3-5. They ended last year with 10 wins. I think they can equal that win total, if not be better, this upcoming year, because I think they're going to upgrade at the quarterback spot. BK from the Bay, one of the bigger fans of the 49ers Report. Do you think the Niners will start Danny Gray this upcoming season? He's going to have to prove himself throughout training camp in the preseason. Kyle Shanahan is not really quick to tab rookies as starters. I think your wide receivers right now, let's say you start 3 of them, including George Kittle, the tight end, depending on what personnel package you go with. Deebo Samuel's your 1. Brandon Aiyuk is your 2, and I think he's going to be a very good number 2. I think that's his projection long term, but I think he could be one of the better number 2s in the NFL. I think Jawan Jennings will be your taller wide receiver who can play out of the slot. He'll be your 3rd guy. And then you have a combination of maybe Danny Gray, Ray McLeod, and a couple of other guys at those receiver spots. We'll see if any of these UDFAs can crack the roster as well. But I expect 3 of those primary guys, Jennings, Aiyuk, Deebo, to be your top 3 wide receivers, followed by Ray McLeod, a little bit of a gadget player, and maybe Danny Gray could take away some of those gadget snaps as well if he proves himself throughout the offseason. Speaking of Danny Gray and all 9 of the Niners draft selections, I want to hear from you. Who was your favorite Niners draft pick? I like Danny Gray the most. I'd probably go Drake Jackson number 2. You let me know your thoughts on the Niners draft in the comments section right now. Ellis10, I believe the Panthers will still seek out Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, earlier in the week, Albert Breer said that the Panthers still kicking around the tires about a potential Jimmy Garoppolo trade, but not just Jimmy G is who they're interested in. It could be Nick Foles. It could be Baker Mayfield. I think Foles would be more of a backup for Carolina. I just can't envision a scenario in which they move forward with Sam Darnold as the starter, especially with Matt Rule on the hot seat, and who could be a good leader and a good guy to learn from. If you're Matt Corral, is it Sam Darnold? Is it Baker Mayfield? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? I think it's Jimmy Garoppolo. Matt Corral to me is pretty raw. I know a lot of people are in the comment section saying Golden Corral better than Trey Lance. There's no chance. Trey Lance is by far the better prospect. He would have went probably number 1 in the draft this year if it wasn't for him declaring last year. I think the upside for Lance is astronomical, but let's hope that the Panthers do trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. This year, they didn't have 2nd and 3rd round picks. The draft is over and done with. Maybe they give up some of that draft compensation next year when they have those picks available. Hanif Razak, appreciate you for supporting the channel, man. You're always here on our shows. What are the chances that Deebo and Aiyuk each get 1,000-yard receiving seasons and each get 7 touchdowns? Also, what are the chances that Brandon, I didn't see the latter part of that question, but I'll address the first part. You got cut off there a little bit. Yeah, 1,000-yard receivers, having 2 of them is a little bit rare. Deebo surpassed that mark last year in 2021 with the marvelous season that he put forward. Aiyuk really didn't do anything the first month and a half, 2 months of the year. It was really that Chicago Bears game in week 8 when Deebo and Aiyuk started to get going. Aiyuk got out of the Kyle Shanahan proverbial doghouse, and he had a really good year. He finished with close to 1,000 yards, and if he plays a full 17-game slate, could he get closer? Yes, but with a inexperienced quarterback, it's going to be a little bit tough. But Aiyuk, Samuel, that's a really good receiving core at that 1-2 punch. If you're watching us during our live show, or if you're watching after the fact, once a week from here on out, we're going to be going live on Callin. It's an audio interactive podcasting app where I'll be able to take all of your calls. If you want to download the app and you're watching on your TV, tablet, computer, you can scan the QR code that we just showed you, or if you're watching on your mobile device or any other device, you just plug in that link down below, chatsports.com/49ers Callin. Think Twitter Spaces, but even better. This app, absolutely awesome. You're able to hop into the caller queue. As evidenced by this picture to my right, I can see who's in line and hit that icon and bring you onto the show, and you can ask me anything about the San Francisco 49ers. So make sure when you go to chatsports.com/49ers Callin, you follow the 49ers Report. Therefore, we can chop it up and talk Niners year round. Why Big Jordan? Panthers versus the Niners this year. How much are the Panthers winning by? Hey, I know you're a Panthers fan. A lot of people are chirping at you in the comment section, and I do enjoy the playful beef. Niners are a better team. There's no question about that. Great 1765. Who will be our safety with Jimmy Ward? I think it'd be wise to bring back Jaquiski Tartt. I think Tartt is coming off the best year of his career. He's only 30 years old. I still think he has gas left in the tank. I think he's a really good safety option who won't cost all that much money, coming off a really solid campaign. And I think that safety tandem of Ward and Tartt last year was one of the better tandems at that safety position in the NFL. Has familiarity with this defense. And with how deep this Niners defensive line is, they're going to get after the quarterback and generate a lot of pressure, making that secondary's job a lot easier. This Niners defense, they could be legit. WTP Niners. Why don't they sign Jalen Hurd to the practice squad? Because he's hurt every single year, and he hasn't been able to play one regular season game in 3 years since he was drafted in the 3rd round out of Baylor. Simple as that. Tantalizing athlete, tantalizing size, got to be able to stay on the field because the best ability, as we know, is availability. Number 1, Grant fan. What if Lance gets hurt? If Lance gets hurt, Niners are kind of screwed. Now, as of right now, it'd be Jimmy Garoppolo as the backup quarterback, barring any trade. If Garoppolo gets dealt, if he gets let go, it would be Nate Sudfeld as the backup quarterback, or Mr. Irrelevant, picked with that last selection in the NFL draft at 262 in the legend Brock Purdy. Now, could they go to the free agency market to try to bring in a better backup quarterback? Maybe, but there was some language in that Sudfeld contract that points to him being the backup, maybe with Brock Purdy, who has a little bit of Nick Mullins in his game. That's what I said when he was drafted, and Kyle Shanahan said that after the fact. But if Lance gets hurt, you got to hope that it's, 1, not for a long time, and 2, Kyle Shanahan can work his magic a little bit. Daniel, how much money do you think the Niners can realistically save from all possible restructuring of player contracts? Who would you like for the Niners to add with that money saved? So if you restructure Jimmy Ward, Eric Armstead, maybe if you extend Jimmy Ward, you'd be able to free up some money. Obviously, if you move on from Garoppolo, that clears up $26 million off the cap. The Niners would go from being last in cap space to second. That's pretty significant. So I don't know if a Garoppolo move is going to happen. That's really the major one to free up a lot of money. Top free agents out there as of Tuesday, we're looking at like OBJ, Jadeveon Clowney, players of that regard. If you want free daily videos on the 49ers, make sure you hit that red subscribe button down below or plug in that link, youtube.com/49erstv. It's actually funny. I was thinking about this the other day. I took over the Niners Report during the NFL draft last year, so it's been basically exactly a year since I took over the channel. We've been able to grow it nearly 26,000 subs in a calendar year. It's been a blast to interact with all of you, the faithful getting down, and this Niners team, legendary over the course of NFL history. To be the face of the faithful, it's been absolutely awesome. Daniel Middleton, did you hear about Deebo liking something that John Lynch said? Yeah, so John Lynch went on KNBR and said, we are not trading away Deebo Samuel, and we envision him coming back to the team in 2022. The more I think about it and the more this transpires over time, I think Deebo is just doing a lot of these antics on social media because he wants a new deal, and he deserves to get paid. If he has no long-term security on his contract and he plays 2022 with the base salary of $3.9 million with the California taxes, a lot of that money's getting taken away, man. And he wants long-term security because the NFL stands for not for long, and he plays a bruising style of football. I understand why he wants a deal. Like any of us, when we negotiate with our bosses, we want more money on that next contract. Deebo, he ain't different than any of us. Tacky wacky. Drake Jackson, the kid, is big and fast. Teams are going to have problems running the ball with him and Bosa. They're going to have trouble throwing the football as well, with Drake Jackson and Nick Bosa rushing the opposing quarterback. Jackson's sack numbers weren't crazy by any means. He had something like 5.5 sacks in 2021 with the USC Trojans, but his bend and the fact that a lot of the focus is going to be on Bosa, a lot of the double teams are going to go that way, and then the depth of the Niners defensive line, Drake Jackson, he has the ability to impact games as a rookie in year one. 2Plate661. Do you think we have a chance this year? What do you think about Trey Lance? I think the Niners have a chance, man. They're coming off an NFC Championship game appearance in which they were a couple of plays away and a bad Garoppolo interception away from maybe driving down the field to win the NFC Championship game to get back to their second Super Bowl in 3 years. The Super Bowl window is open for this team right now. And anybody who doesn't believe that, I just don't know what you're seeing. This is a team with premier players on both sides of the ball. I think Kyle Shanahan learned a lot last year following that 3-5 start. He's a top 10 coach in the league, and I think the offense is going to be more explosive, less predictable with Lance at the helm. So I do think the Niners have a chance with Lance. Mahomes in his second year won MVP. Chiefs made it to the AFC Championship game. If D Ford wasn't offsides, yes, D Ford, the legend, Niner legend, Chiefs might have made it to the big dance. And in year 2, Joe Burrow led the Bengals to the Super Bowl as well. So it has been done before. Before we hop on out of here for this mailbag, I want you to grade the 49ers roster after the 2022 NFL Draft. I think it's like a B roster, and that's good enough for you to go on a run in the playoffs. A, B, C, D, or F, you let me know in the comment section.